Well, I guess it's a first step, and hopefully in the right. I mean that after successive humanitarian pauses and successive releases of hostages, that would hopefully and ultimately pave the way for a ceasefire. And I guess that the latest diplomatic moves in the Middle East, the visit by Mr. Ambassador William Burns, the director of the CIA, touring some Arab capitals, and then going to Doha to meet with the director of the Mossad, Israel's Mossad, with the Qatari Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. And then from there, the Emir Tamim flies to Egypt, has flown to Egypt today to meet with the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. I guess there is something cooking on two levels. The first level, I think, is, of course, the release of some hostages against humanitarian pauses negotiated by the Biden administration. The other level is in the medium term, that these pauses could lead to a ceasefire. That's why yesterday the three top leaders in Hamas were in Cairo, and they met with the director of the intelligence service. And I guess I have a hunch that things are moving slowly in the right direction.
Well, can I challenge you on that analysis a little bit? Because intuitively, I understand. It makes complete sense. And it's also what Hashem was telling us a moment ago, that you start small, right? You start on a small window of cessation of fighting, and Biden is presenting it as a step in the right direction. As you said, the idea is you start small and you go towards a bigger pause in the fighting. But is that actually the case? I mean, there's no evidence that that would be the case. The Israelis, if and when they formally agree to this pause in the fighting, it will be entirely on their terms, won't it?
Well, I doubt it very much, because it seems to me, going over the latest statements coming out of the White House and the statement by the United States Secretary of State, Mr. Anthony Blinken, in Tokyo the day before yesterday, after the meetings of the foreign ministers of the G7, I guess this gives us an inkling of what the Biden administration is up to. Of course, the American administration does not want to get involved in a head-on confrontation with the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. And this for two main reasons. First of all, and the first reason is related to domestic American politics. We all know the relations between Mr. Netanyahu and the Republican Party. And the other reason is they don't want Mr. Netanyahu to appear in front of the Israeli public opinion as if he's standing against the American administration. Having said that, I guess the American approach now is to soften the positions by Mr. Netanyahu personally, in order in the next few weeks they get what they are aiming at: successive pauses for humanitarian reasons, and then ultimately a ceasefire. Having said that, some American military are questioning the long-term Israeli strategy and the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
And we have seen a statement by the new chief of staff of the United States, when he said that we are afraid. He's talking about the United States. We are afraid that the longer this war lasts, the more hawkish and the more violent the Palestinians would become. So I guess
yeah.
there is, I have detected some differences in the American approach and the Israeli approach to how to manage this conflict right now, and what will be the ending, politically speaking and strategically speaking. If we go, the day before yesterday, okay.
Yeah, no, just because I'm pressed for time and we have so much to cover in this news hour.
The day before yesterday, Mr. Blinken set out the red lines that the American administration have laid down for everyone to hear. And for instance, when he spoke about Gaza, he said, no reconquest, no siege, no forced displacement of the Palestinian in Gaza.
All right.
Whether now or tomorrow or again and again. And then he spoke about the Palestinian Authority exercising civilian control over the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. So I think that the American administration is moving now into the broader picture. And in order to carry out this vision...
Mr. Haridi, I'm going to have to jump in and move on, unfortunately.
Okay.
I really thank you for your time and your analysis. I will note that as you speak and as you bring up, the question of what is the strategy long term, of course, we're always looking at the live picture, and it's so jarring to hear of what happens long term. I'm not saying that it's not relevant. It absolutely is, but it is so jarring to hear of that when you're seeing what's happening in the immediate term, and there are entire stretches of Gaza that have been reduced to rubble as we see the smoke billowing over the skies of Gaza live. But we appreciate the context. It's necessary, and we'll continue to come back to that. Thank you very much, Mr. Hussein Haridi, military analyst, former field artillery officer. Thank you very much.